Bonjour, my darlings. Happy Monday. Good morning, my darlings. How are you? You know, we've got our cup of coffee, darling, and some of y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves. Some of y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves. Darling, the amount of effort that some of y'all are willing to put into determining if the most non-consequential rumor ever is or isn't accurate is the problem. Okay, the amount of people who spent all day scrubbing the internet trying to figure out if this chick was or wasn't pregnant, that's what you spent your time on? That was the thing you needed to research. That was a thing that needed research. That's dangerous misinformation if you can't prove it. If that chick, what does it have to do with your personal private life if that chick is pregnant or not? Not a thing. Not a thing. What does it have to do for the news, for the situation? Nada. Some of y'all need to reassess where you're putting your energy, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Gosh. Some of y'all need to put half as much research into what's actually going on, and maybe you would get upset like the rest of us. Anyway, Twirling, speaking of getting upset like the rest of us, the people have been in the streets, and you're not seeing it on the lame stream. Even the frozen water force is starting to get nervous, darling. That's why they're acting out the way they are. That's why they're suddenly going after citizens for identifying them or recording them or taking photos, because they know what they are doing is not okay, and they know they're going to get in trouble. They are seeing their friends getting arrested and going, hey guys, I'm part of the goon squad, I'm above the law, and the people going, yeah, that's not going to work. And I'm going, wait a minute, what do you mean that's not going to work? So yeah, they're the fact that they're going after us more, people more, citizens more for identifying them lets you know that they know. Okay, the doo-doo department, DOGE. Suddenly they're acting like it never existed. Suddenly Stinky Pants is like, what? Okay, they've dismantled it. They've dispersed the persons, and the people who were working for that department are now worried that they're going to be left out to dry when repercussions come around, because they're coming and they can sense it too. And they're getting scared. They're worried they're just going to be left high and dry with no protection, as is most of this regime. Stinky Pants is the only one who's going to slide out of this. Everybody else is going to take the hit. Speaking of taking the hits, yes, we're looking at the photos, darling. You know the photos we're talking about. And darling, did you notice in one of the photos, it's the same chair as in the painting? Did you see the photo in the painting? Look, I know people think everything is AI, but as someone who also used to take regular photos on physical film, I know that's hard to imagine. Looking at those, yeah, those are not recreated. You can't make those. Look at the patterns, look at the hands, look at the carpet, look at the flash, remember what real photography used to look like. I know it was a long time since everything's digital now, but if you remember what it used to look like, you can't replicate that. You can't fake it. In fact, that's one of the problems with going digital, is that you can't get that texture you get from real film, okay? Stinky Pants is over here throwing even more of a fit. Right, calling for the heads of more lawmakers, again, just for the attention, but he's spinning. That's all he's got left now, is he keeps threatening and saying, yes, threaten them, bring them to me, they must obey. And it's funny because these are the same people who keep saying, he's not a king. What are you guys talking about? He's not a king. And then he posts himself as a king, and they're like, that's fine. It's a sense of humor. Just like Quiet Piggy is his sense of humor, and calling for the heads of politicians is his sense of humor. That's their culture. Just saying, all right? Now, here's another thing that is not surprising, right? Now that we know that certain accounts have been run by certain settlements, okay, and you're also paying attention to the messaging that account has been putting out and how it sounds an awful lot like what that place says about the people they're taking out, then you add into that a lot of the frozen water force also seem to have had experience in the forces over there, which explains why and how they're treating the people the way they are. You know, the worms in the food, the cruelty, the violence, all of that. They are replicating what happens over there. I told y'all this in the beginning. I told y'all, and now it's just being confirmed. So I need y'all to stop waiting for us to be right about more horrible stuff and realizing that, yeah, they're going to have to be pulled out. They are going to have to be removed, and no one else is going to do it for us. It has to be us. And ladies, when this is done, it's our turn. It's our turn, because can't get worse than normalizing diddlery, okay? Can't get worse than that.